Hey, fabulous friends. Welcome back to Geometry with Mrs. Watts. Today we're going to continue our work on angle bisectors. We've done a couple of worksheets with this. We've gone step by step by step. Before we get started, though, I think it's important that we do the same thing we do every day. We review these vocabulary terms, okay? So remember, an angle bisector in geometry refers to the line that splits an angle into two equal parts. Y'all, that one part is very important. The piece right here that says two equal angles. Okay, they have to be the exact same. If we remember what equal means, it's the exact same. If you're trying to split a piece of pizza with your friend, you're going to try and make it so you get equal parts. Okay, an angle bisector cuts an angle in half, exactly equal two parts, two separate angles. Okay, so bisector means the thing that bisects a shape or an object into two equal parts. If we draw a ray that bisects an angle into two equal parts of the same measure, then it's called an angle bisector. That's what we're going to be working with today, guys, as we have been for the last few days, okay? Just a couple of terms that we want to remember. The more we talk about it, the more we'll remember them, more easily we'll remember them. But an acute angle is an angle less than 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is an angle that is more than 90, but less than 180. Do you guys remember why it's more than 90? What's a 90-degree angle called? Correct. It's a right angle. Those of you that didn't remember, that's okay. We're going to continue to practice these terms. And then the reason it has to be less than 180, do you guys remember the special name for that 180-degree angle? It's a straight angle. It makes a straight line, so it's a straight angle. Okay? So let me figure out how to get out of this back to our worksheet. Here we are in our worksheet for today. And just like we always do, I'm going to do the odds. You guys are going to do the evens. But before we get started, everybody knows that when we're working on these angle bisectors, we have to have two colors. Colored pencils, markers, crayons, whatever. If you're doing it digitally, we are blessed to have colors right in here. So I'm going to start with black, just to write my name at the top. You guys know I use cursive, even if you don't like it. I use cursive. Okay, so there we are with Watts up at the top. The date, today's date is 2/14/22, and this is whatever period you are in. Okay, so continuing on, let's pick our first color. Okay, I always like to start with red. Let's read the instructions. Each figure shows a triangle with one of its angle bisectors. Okay. Number one, it asks us to find the measure of angle CAB if the measure of angle 2 is 36 degrees. Remember what we've worked on. We always want to find the thing that it gave us, the information it gave us. It always gives us one angle measure. Which one did it give us? The measure of angle 2, it shows us right here. The measure of angle, oh, let me delete that. That's too low. The measure of angle 2 is 36 degrees, correct? So now, before we do anything else, we need to identify where angle 2 is on our diagram. It's indicated by this little 2 right here, correct? So another name for that angle is angle BAP. And you know, we color it in with our color that we underlined with, so that we have our pieces or our whole color coordinated with the statement. Okay, so now I'm going to get my second color. I'm going to go with blue. Okay, what do they want us to find? Well, they want us to find the measure of angle CAB. We need to figure out where that is. We start at C, we go to A, we go to B, and we roughly color it in. Okay, so what they gave us is a part. We've talked a lot about part versus whole. They gave us a part. We want to find the whole thing. Measure of angle CAB is the whole thing in blue, correct? Sorry, my computer's on my lap. So if we want to find the whole thing, we have to take that small measurement and do what with it? Remember, an angle bisector, by definition, splits the blue part, the whole thing, into two equal pieces. So how might we be able to find the whole thing when they gave us one of the pieces? We've talked about a couple of different ways to do it, right? Try and remember, there's 2 different ways to do this one. Let's go back to our first color. Let's put in here 36 degrees because we know that one's 36 degrees. Remember the definition of an angle bisector. Excuse me. It's probably why we're not at school today. The definition of an angle bisector is that it splits our larger angle into 2 equal parts. So if that red part is 36 degrees, what would the other half be? Correct. This half over here would be 36 degrees. Can we add them together to be the whole thing? Yes. 36 plus 36. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 72 degrees. Do you guys remember the other way we can do it? The one that's a little bit higher order geometry, not so basic math. Both ways work, but I think it's important that we know this other way. If one piece is 36 and we know the other one is also 36, by definition of an angle bisector, we have 36 2 times. And again, that's going to come out to the exact same answer. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Okay? Both ways work. Both ways are technically correct. However, I would prefer this one right here. I would prefer us multiplying by 2 just because that's a little more appropriate for where this piece of information is taking us later in the semester, okay? So let's go on to number 3. I'm going to get my first color out again. What information did it give us in our statement? I just erased that real quick because we couldn't see it all. What information did it give us? Remember, it always gives us the measurement of one of our angles. What angle did it give us? Correct, the measure of angle 1. Now we need to find angle 1 in our diagram, which is right there. Angle DFP, or angle PFD. Remember that vertex must be in the center of the 3 letters when we're identifying the angle. You can call that angle 1 or angle DFP or angle PFD. Okay, now let's change colors to our second color. What does it want us to find? What are they asking for? It wants to find the measure of angle DFE. Let's find that DFE. Okay, is DFE the whole thing or just a part? It's the whole thing, right? We need to find the whole thing. What information did they give us? The measure of angle 1, they just gave us a part. What do we know about the 2 different angles? They are what? Equal. What's a fancier word for equal? A more geometry appropriate word, that academic vocabulary we work on. Not equal, that other word starts with a C. Congruent. Good. So if angle 1 as given to us is 25 degrees, what's angle 2? 25 degrees. I'm going to try and get away from that adding stuff, okay? So how many 25s are right there? 2. So 25 2 times is going to give us our whole angle that has those 2 angles inside of it, right? The whole thing, 25 times 2. What's 2 quarters? How much money is 2 quarters? 50 cents, but we're not measuring in cents. We're measuring in degrees. All right. Let's, I didn't even know I could do that. Boom. Let's go on down to number 5. That's going to make it much easier. Okay. I'm going to go down to number 5. First thing we need to do is figure out what information they gave us. What angle measure did they give us? Look at it. Read that congruent or that statement up there, not congruent statement. Read that statement for number 5. The measure, remember that little M stands for measure. The measure of angle VXW equals 38 degrees. Let's find VXW. Start at V, go to X, go to W. Remember, those letters aren't in that order willy-nilly. They're in that order on purpose. Okay, the X has to be the vertex, the center of that angle. Let's get our second color out. What do they want us to find? They want us to find the measure of angle 1. Where's angle 1? The one with the little 1 in it. Okay, so this one's a little different. They gave us the red. Is the red a whole or a part? The red is the whole thing, correct. So now we're going to take the whole angle and divide it into 2 equal parts. So what operation are we going to use? We want to take the whole thing, which is 38 degrees, and do what with it? Divide it into how many? 2 equal parts. And that's going to give us the measurement of those 2 smaller angles, the 2 parts. So 38 divided by 2. Plug that into your calculator and you get 19 degrees. Very nice, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move it on down to number 7. This is the last one I'm going to be doing with you. You guys are going to go ahead and complete the evens on the other side of the page, okay? And I will save this document. It will be in Google Classroom. So when you open up your work, you're going to have these examples done on the left side for you. And then the right side is going to be your responsibility. I do the odds so that you know how to do all of the different types of problems, and you're going to have to knock out the evens, okay? So let's start with our first color is red. Let's read that statement for number 7. I want you guys to try and read it before I read it out loud. Remember that little M that kind of looks like a squigglier M? It's cursive. Let's remember that stands for the word measure. And then the picture of an angle stands for angle. So I'm going to give you guys a second to try and read that to yourselves before I read it aloud. Did you guys get it? Okay, I'm going to read it and you guys talk to yourselves and let yourselves know if you did it correctly or incorrectly and figure out where you went wrong, okay? The way you would read this is find the measure of angle 1 if the measure of angle 2 is 12 degrees. I'll read that one more time. Find the measure of angle 1 if the measure of angle 2 is 12 degrees. Okay? So now we need to, with our first color, identify what information was given to us. Not what they want us to find, but what they gave to us. Yes. The measure of angle 2 is 12 degrees. Now we need to find angle 2 in our diagram. I'm going to start with you. Go to T, and then go to P. It's the little one with the 2 in it, correct? The angle with the 2 in it. Okay, now let's get our second color out and figure out what they want us to find. They want us to find what? The measure of angle 1. Let's identify where that is in our diagram. We can start at P, go to T, go to V. Color that in. Okay, the part they gave us, that angle 2, is it a whole or is it just part of it? It's just part of it. Good. Now it wants us to find angle 1. It wants us to find that measurement. Is angle 1 the whole thing or just a part of it? It's also just a part. Yes. How in the world are we going to do that? Well, let's finish labeling what we know. We know that angle 2 is 12 degrees. What do we know about angle bisectors and the whole thing? It takes the whole thing and does what? Splits the whole angle into 2 equal angles. So if one of the smaller angles, one of the parts is 12 degrees, what's the other part? Don't double it, don't divide it. It's also 12 degrees, and that is our answer. If angle 2 is 12 degrees, angle 1 is also 12 degrees. All right, guys, you're capable of amazing, amazing things. This will be in Google Classroom for you without my name on it, of course. So I'll go ahead and erase that. Erase all my little marks. Okay. You guys are going to knock this out of the park for today's practice, okay? You're capable of amazing things. I'll see you later.